just start the recording and get your portfolio up here. Ryan, right?
Yep.
I'm like, make sure I have the right portfolio. Oh no.
It's an
uh,
ongoing meme in the Discord that whenever somebody tries to talk about me, it pings somebody else.
oh
I think
really?
we've got 5 different people that have been pinged when somebody's trying to at me.
Oh my gosh. That sounds great. Anyways, yeah, you're among friends. It's totally fine. Foozle says it right in chat. So okay, so the forums are open now as well. Um, make sure that text updates. Cool. Okay, so environment artist, right?
Yep.
Super nice. When did you get into 3D?
Uh, I got into 3D about the same time I started in college.
Yeah.
Uh, I went to Ringling College of Art and Design, and I graduated earlier this year.
Oh, so you know Ryland.
Yeah. Oh man, Rylan.
Yeah, I used to work with
Mis-
Ryland.
Mr. Stickman, he's lots of fun.
Mr. Stickman. Oh my gosh.
He's a tall, like a twig.
Yeah, and then Morgan Wolverton, who
Yeah,
I also used to
Morgan's
work
great.
with. But okay, so you went to school, environment art. You've got your ice cave scene, which you just finished, right? Or maybe it's still in progress and you're about
Might
to finish
want to
it.
work on it more. I
Yeah,
think it's in a good spot. I think I might need to give it a little bit more love.
nice. Yeah, I get what you mean. It can all like depending on like how you're feeling about the piece. If you have to set it down at some point, right? So
Right
keep
now,
that in
I think
mind.
I've gotten what I wanted to get out of it,
Hmm.
which is good. But I don't know if I want to spend another month on it and just really refine it.
Yeah.
That might be a little risky.
Oh, it's just like spending too much time on it.
Yeah.
You're so you have substance in here as well. Are you just want to make environments? Is that the plan?
Well, yeah, the plan is doing environments, but I also have substance spheres for some of the materials that I made. This was for the internship that I had recently.
Oh right,
It's
this
not
yeah.
the best thing in the world. I just wanted to show it off, something that I worked on.
Right. Yeah, I mean whenever it's like if it's production, right? It's always good to say that it was an internship because then you're like it shows that you had to like fit within the metrics of like how like you had to build this for someone. It's not just you putting it together.
Yeah, it was to their specs, to what they wanted during their
Yeah,
time limits.
nice. Yeah, I would say the only thing in here is how it can be pretty bare or empty.
Yeah,
Um, but at the same time, like those are the details to like keep an eye on, uh, and work on as you continue forward. Man, my earphones feel weird right now. It's like the noise canceling's not working. I need
oh,
to
is it
switch the
doing the
battery
hissy
out.
thing?
No, I just had to turn them off. So I'm like hearing myself now, which I'm not used to. It's
I've
kind of
gone
weird.
through so many pairs with the bows. They kept having issues. I had to send them back.
Yeah. Oh man.
They started like hissing every once in a while, and apparently that's like a bug with the software or something.
Awesome. Well, I have not had that yet.
Very lucky that they know me by name now.
Oh my god. Um, so let's look at your other stuff. So let's look at your materials, and then we'll kind of go through. What's up, Trey? How you doing? Um, we'll go through and talk about like where the weaknesses are and like where your strengths are, and then just go through this material stuff. This is interesting. Did you did you make the background white? How did you do that?
No, I didn't make the background white. If you click on it, it turns black.
Oh, is it?
It's a bug.
Wait, what?
At least I thought it was. It's maybe it's transparency. It could be that. I might need
Oh
to.
yeah, if it's a PNG, maybe.
Could be.
Dude, weird. I would see if you can just add a background to it, just so it's easier to look at.
Right. So it doesn't
Um,
blind everybody in the room.
yeah, yeah. No flashbangs, please. um, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at these materials. This one's quite random feeling. There's some lines in here that maybe it's like this. I don't know if you can see my mouse. This line here.
Right.
Is this supposed to be
With
like
this,
a? Yeah,
it's
go ahead.
double normal. So the point was that I was using this for cables, so I wanted to
Oh,
introduce like the kind of cabling normal on top of the underlying carbon normal.
right. I guess with that you need to like let me see. Let me look at your normals really fast. So it's if you're gonna have that normal in there, I think you need to have it like wrap more. Let me see if I can open it in Photoshop here. So like this needs to be rounded, right? So you would expect maybe this midpoint here to be higher than these points. So like these would be the lowest area. And so
Right. I think when I showed it off,
yeah.
um, I didn't quite show how it looks in engine. It's visible in the environment scene, so you can kind of
Oh, let me see.
because
Is
I
it
don't
this
think
one?
designer does double normals very well.
Oh, oh, are you so in designer you're blending two normals
Right.
because I guess you what you would want to do is I mean Ben's in chat. He says that you should remove the graphs actually. You don't need them in there. Um, but I think what you should be doing is blending two height maps together or combining
Right.
height maps and then converting it to a normal afterwards. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a bit more sense.
Um, yeah, let me just go through here. It's funny because I'm looking at your portfolio for the first time, so I kind of go in raw when I do this. Uh, yeah, the so you're not really feeling the individual cables, and I think if you're blending two or combining two height maps together instead of normals, you're gonna get a more accurate normal. I'm pretty sure what you're saying is true that the blending normals in Substance Designer can get kind of funky. It's
I
doable.
wonder
It
if they
just gets
updated.
gets weird. Um, with this scene, the balls are like the little bouncy or what are the medicine balls? I guess you call them. I think that's what we call them in the
Yoga
U.S.
balls.
The yoga balls. Oh man, maybe I'm old now. Uh, having those rotate differently just to break up the scene. I don't know if they're
Right.
weighted to the way where like they always end up resting this way.
That's a good touch to put on there.
And then there's a shadow effect. I think this is like a bug with a contact shadow, just the way that the asset is resting.
Yeah, it's the unfortunate problems with GDGI volumes in NVIDIA's version of global illumination.
Oh yeah. So wait. So how old is this? I mean, you posted it
Very
2 days ago.
yeah, that's when my internship finished.
Oh okay. All right. Uh, some other things I guess I could mention in here for like future reference is looking at how bright the ceiling lights are, and really trying to like. It sounds really strange, but pushing down the brightness of ceiling lights. That way you can get gradients and subtleties where like you can tell where the light bulb is.
Right, to show the inner bulb and maybe
Yeah.
some dirt on there probably too would be
Yeah.
better. I didn't actually make an asset for those. They were
Oh, they're just
uh
supplied.
no, it's literally a cube.
Oh,
That's fine.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
get
this
you.
is more for blockout proof of concept use is what they wanted. They wanted just to be able to kind of
Oh, okay. That makes a whole lot more sense. Now I understand a little bit more about what's going on here. Yeah, because they just want to see the space as it like. This is probably as far as you would take a block out before you start actually making the assets.
yeah, like really refining it, go get decals, have more assets to put on like posters on the wall, all this other stuff.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, because then I shouldn't comment on like laser lines and like really sharp edges and whatnot because I mean that's not the focus of what you're building here. You're
Right.
not trying to make a like clean well done environment. You're trying to block out a space with the materials that they're wanting and then figuring out the composition for them. This is cool. The presentation on the end here.
I just wanted to make sure I showed off all the materials I made. Like
Yeah.
that took a long while.
Yeah. How were you instancing these? What? Oh
Nope,
no.
I didn't use master material. That I should have done that. The water one is instanced. There's two different variations on there. Um, Most of the stuff is following the same type of channel mapping, so they would work easily for that, but
Yeah.
I didn't. We weren't in production, so I just kind of um, went for what was easier to do and pretty easy to take an hour to do later and remap.
Right. Just real quick, did everyone in chat hear that sub thing go off? I don't. I don't know. I just was like, oh, that's really loud. It was really loud to me. Nope. Oh my gosh. Only I heard it. This is amazing. All right, good. Well, thanks for the thanks, Tish.
Just about everything in here is tiling.
Yeah.
Um, there's one or two one-off assets, not very many. Everything's done with either trim sheets or it's done with tileables.
Right. Yeah, I think when you're doing blockouts like this or proof of concept and layout design and all that stuff, tileables and just making sense of patterns is probably the best approach, and then just maintaining texel density when possible. Um,
Everything in that room is 5.12, and I was so happy about it.
yeah, oh, that's really good. Uh, all right, so if we look at the Guardians space, this is actually the materials here are really this shot I really like. Just because you're
I
seeing
really
your,
like that one too.
is this a trim, just a trim sheet?
Yep, that's trim sheet. This was
Yeah,
my first introduction to trim sheets.
nice.
Baby's first trim sheet.
Baby's first trim sheet. Dude, that's so good. Do you have, is there anything really special that you want to talk about with this scene, or is it just the trim sheets and decals that were making it happen?
Mostly it's almost everything in here is tiling. There's very minimal use of actual like real assets that have specific textures for them because the space is so big.
Mm.
This space is ginormous. The player size is about the size of that black thing on the ground,
Oh, really? So the
or
player's about
maybe
as tall
maybe a
as
little bit
this.
like half that maybe.
Okay. Wow.
And so
Okay.
it's zero gravity and 6 degrees of freedom was what the movement was like. So it was almost impossible to do stuff for this scene without using straight tileables or using what do you call it, trim sheets.
Right. Dang. So I guess you had to. How closely does this follow the design of the? This is a zero G environment, and this is based off of. This isn't based off a movie, is it?
No, this
Off
is
the
based
Guardian.
off concept that I created
Oh man.
for my senior thesis,
Yeah.
and it got put together. I just kept working on it. A lot of people were kind of done with their thesis at one point, and I just kept going just to make sure I could get something.
Yeah.
And I think it turned out pretty all right.
Yeah. The image at the top, is that the final result or is that the concept
That's the final result.
final
That's
result? Dude, this is
in-game
super cool.
120 FPS.
Yeah, that's super nice. I'm looking at the materials because like down if you go down this way, the materials in here, this one feels like it's not quite there yet. Like the materials are doing some weird stuff. There's some hard edges that are in here. What's
Right.
the reason for having this bottom image here versus the top one?
To show off the difference of the center. So the center is where the reactor is coming down, so that connects into the bottom.
Right.
So this level is above that blue scene.
Oh, dang. Okay. So this says engineering bay. So there's no text on this one. I guess if there was a way to tell the player, like of course the walls are a different color, right? But if there was a way to tell the player where they're at, I know it's kind of difficult in this scenario, but I didn't realize that these are two separate spaces, even though of course the middle is very different. I don't know why I'm like seeing them as the same. I guess maybe because of the arch here. Ben in chat was saying that if you can include anything to help with scale, that would help immensely. whether it be like a panel and some buttons or just something that.
Right.
What's up?
No, right. This is something I've struggled the entire time with this scene is because it's so hard to convey scale when it is so massive,
Right.
and that's one of the biggest failures of the scene.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a failure. That's pretty hardcore, man. But it's like that's the thing that would really help the viewer understand the scale of the scene, right? And so
Right.
yeah, if you have like if you're doing deferred decals for like little panels and buttons at locations, the thing that's kind of helping are these little handles. I guess if there was a ladder somewhere, because these are kind of like a ladder grab, right, around the
Right.
ports. If there was like maybe text there that was small, so it was like it was being viewed. Uh,
Or like a panel that was there that you could interact with. That would be
yeah,
cool.
yeah, that would help a lot, dude. This top image though, yeah, there's something about the way this is put together is really cool. It kind of feels
That,
like this stuff should have like it should be making the air different, like there'd be more particles in the air.
that would probably be a good thing to put in there.
But how did you go about applying this stuff? Is it just floating, or is it
Oh man,
projected?
that was a whole nightmare scenario. I
Yeah.
spent like a month trying to get into Houdini so I could figure out how to do a was it space colonization model using polylines to climb up the surface and then convert that to geo so that I could have the stuff naturally climb all over the scene. Nightmare. Did not like it.
Oh my
Unreal didn't
god.
like it. Houdini didn't like it. Um, and I was like running out of time, and I'm like, okay, decals, decals.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a work environment we would go with decals as well. I mean, I think Doom Eternal, their approach is probably like the same way you did it here. Uh, of course, they have a few like fancy bells and whistles to control that stuff, but uh,
Man, my heart's breaking thinking about Doom right now.
yeah.
Uh, I think I sent you a message about that one.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just like it's the same approach, right? It's decals that are being placed to try and convey like the stuff on top of the material. There is a little bit of sorting issues with this stuff here. I don't know if that's like because this is modeled in, and then there you get an ambient occlusion in the little cracks here.
That's
Uh,
because there's like some transparency to the decal, and it's
oh,
reading the normal through it.
oh, I see, I see. Okay, having the text on the walls is really good as well, and having the text visible on both up and down really helps with the whole like you could be navigating through there. With you saying it's through like 0G, it would be really cool to see a video of like the camera.
Oh, I actually do have a video.
Yeah, yeah, it would
Yeah,
be good to have a video in here.
I think it's on my rookies page. Might
Oh
have
yeah,
to.
yeah. You
Yeah,
can drop it in chat if you want,
sure.
and then I'll start looking at the ice cave, and we can come back to the rookies page for the video. Yeah, you should definitely have the video in there. But I can't believe you tried to do uh, Houdini for that. That's pretty hardcore. Trying to do a simulation like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's somebody else in the college right now doing Houdini simulations, and that guy's got like Omega Giga Brain. He's like throwing all this stuff into Unreal. Everything's being propagated procedurally. That guy's gonna get a job right out of college, if
Yeah.
not beforehand. They're gonna scoop him up. Like, everybody's looking for people who can do simulations or dynamics, and all that kind of stuff.
See if I can navigate to the.
You can also see my character. It's not very good.
I mean, it's cool that you don't have your character in your portfolio because it's like if you're wanting to be an environment artist, then you shouldn't be, right?
Yeah.
Well, you
Oh,
could, but I mean, it's usually not a good
that
idea.
character is kind of a funny story. I did that character in Designer because the version of Painter that we had on the lab computers
Yeah.
was so atrocious that trying to run like 2K maps or anything with it was just obscene. You just could not get it to work. I would make my masks and maps in Painter, pull them into Designer, do all the everything in there. That graph was taking like 32 gigs of memory to load.
The this I'm just looking at this shot on rookies. You should have this one in your art station. I
Oh,
don't because it's just not in there. Because it's actually this. I like this one. This screen doesn't really come off as a screen. I think it needs just a pass on like either having movement in a video or like having it like it just
sure.
doesn't feel like it's emitting light, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. I might have to do like a light function or something.
Is the video in here? I'm not. I don't. Oh, maybe it's. Is it this?
Um,
No, this is the older stuff.
I think it's all the way at the bottom. Or really? Oh no, maybe it was my entry. Oopsie.
No, it's cool, man. But yeah, I would. Uh, we can keep going, but I would just say put the video in your art station for sure, just because then we can get a sense and understanding of like what you're seeing. Um,
Right.
but the cave scene, it looks like you did some adjustments on how the rock is really close to the camera. It really like narrowed down when you look at the how close everything got to the camera. Like the space really tightens up. Let me see if I can just copy this and just paste it in here. So, for example, if you look like this is essentially, well, this is everything that's the foreground, right? Everything's right up in your face, which really makes the scene shrink. And it almost feels like you don't need, like if you were to frame, if I was to reframe it, I would probably put this somewhere around here just so
Right.
that you have more of the space to view. I don't know. Maybe this is going back further than I know or than I can understand it.
Right.
And then with these three materials, I would just like see if you can turn it into a single image that spans like just a spot here. That way we don't have to scroll so much just to look at three materials.
Right. That would probably be a better way to do it.
But it's just like a reflective, like ice on rock, or is it just rock?
It's a blend of both.
It's a blend of both.
I,
So
I
it's a really
did
interesting shader to pull off.
I did that shader is not game ready. The shader is not industry ready. That thing is massively massively not good. I told you about when I clicked too hard, it just kind of boop
Oh
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh man,
This type of material is another material that would be really good for motion, right? Because if you can get the camera moving around, then you can get that. Is there any depth in the ice that you're doing?
yeah, it's parallax occlusion mapped. It's got pixel depth offset for two different things. It's got tessellation. It's got three-layer blend plus alpha blend on top with the
Dude, that's
snow
doing a lot of
layering.
stuff, man.
It's got this blending function, so when it's next to other materials, it will do a dither between the two different objects so that
Yeah,
they blend better together because I knew skirt cards are going to take so long and I kept moving stuff. So I was just like, please,
right.
just right now, let's just put this together and somehow this is going to function.
Dude,
And
that's a lot of stuff going on in that shader.
it's also modular too, so each one can receive each rock's different bake normal so that
Right.
you
So
can
you've
plug it
just
on everything.
instanced it and then swapped the normal out.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I think if you're getting the camera to be moving around in here and you can actually see that depth in the shader, you would totally get more of a payoff from it.
My stretch goal would to be have like snow wind lines coming through and have that as a video playing at the very beginning.
Yeah, that could be pretty cool. Max found the video. Oh, is that the link above the? Let me see. Oh, that's why you thought it was. There's a character. Oh, right, here's the video. This is a YouTube video, right?
Yep.
Have it muted. Oh, it's third person as well. Why is this? Why is this taking so? Why is it so slow? There we go.
Oh,
Oh yeah, dude. Oh dang, this is way cooler. Just seeing it in motion. Yeah, definitely put this on your yeah, put this on your portfolio. Oh man, you even have 0G props in the. Oh yeah, that's good. So you're showing a lot of technical interest. Is that intentional, or are you actually
really,
enjoying the technical
really
side of
thought I
things?
wanted to be a tech artist. I really did.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I wouldn't really get to do what I wanted to do. And that kind of ruined it for me.
What did you mean by what do you mean by that?
All I've been told is like you're gonna make tools. You're gonna that's gonna be your bread and butter. You're just gonna make tools all day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's not wrong. I guess it depends on the studio, right? Making tools or building shaders is one of the other things, depending on how the studio operates. Dude, this is crazy with the rolling. That's super cool.
It's all programmed in Blueprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was real fun to figure out how to avoid gimbal lock.
I don't even want to know, man. I'm not a very technical person, if you can imagine. Uh, but back to the cave scene. For sure, add that to your art station. It's really good. It shows much more of the everything that you've done so far, scene wise, minus the most recent or the not the most recent the internship. Like these two show best in motion, and if you can get like a camera moving through here, and we can see the depth in the ice,
Right.
that would be that would really make this shine a bit more. I really feel like this stuff should be pushed back more and really open the scene up so that you can actually look at the scene. Because I feel like this is blocking it. You could almost hang on. I already have it in Photoshop. You could maybe even
Almost want to make it square.
almost yeah. Like if I let's see if I can do this. I'll just mask because you can. I feel like you don't need the. Of course, making it square will allow you to keep the aspect or like the view of what you see here. But
Right.
yeah, when I scale this up and just kind of get that stuff out of the way, you end up seeing more of the scene. This
Right.
zoomed in like this though, of course you lose the path. But I feel like even with it where it's at now, there isn't really a path. If it was
Right.
like, if you could fill the, it's like your eyes need a area to rest where like it's much smoother, and I feel like if this whole bottom area was kind of like snow filled in, and then you had like footprints in the snow, that would tell more of a story, and you'd be able to understand the space a little bit more, and it would give your eyes somewhere to chill. I guess your eyes rest here. It just takes up so much of the composition.
Right.
If we look at your, so we can go down a little bit of my checklist here. If we look at your thumbnails, the thumbnails are pretty good. I feel like if this one kind of follows the same style where you have like the text and the engine, that would look pretty
Right.
good. And I think if you were to take the Substance Designer logo and just kind of put it in the same spot and move Substance Designer off to the side, you're just going to get the same feeling for all of your thumbnails. So it's more about unifying the overall look of it, right?
Right.
But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's other right now. I think this this Galactic Guardian scene shows your material work pretty well. The complexity of it and having these decals on the top really kind of bring stuff together. If you remove all of that, you start to see, like, I guess if we go down to the red oranges place, you get a breakdown in, like, these edges are really sharp, so watching out for those. Things like where masks could be to like help bridge the gap between things and connect stuff. That's when you go up to the top image, that's where all of these decals are kind of fixing that problem. Well, it's not
Right.
really a problem, but it helps pull everything together, right? And yeah, I mean, everything is so desaturated in here as well because of that. So you're just really getting this kind of atmosphere to it. If I could see this, like a still shot of this animated with the little particles floating around and maybe like lights flickering, it just kind of shows the state of the space.
Yeah, maybe like a slow zoom in
Yeah.
and just light flicker.
Yeah. Yeah, and that flicker, when it's flickering, you can see the dust or like the, I don't know, the, if you want to call it like the pollen or the polyps or whatever is like tied to this, whatever is making the atmosphere thick from this stuff, you could see it in the light. That would be super cool. But this one shows materials really well. What's up?
I think I might be able to get that to work. I'm just thinking about it real quick. I'm like, wait a minute. If I had to do dynamic lighting, would that ruin the entire scene?
I mean, it could just be that one light, right?
Right.
The rest might be fine. Because the reason you have static and dynamic lights is because normally you can't afford to have all of your lights dynamic. So most of the time you would just leave most of them static, and then you would hand pick which ones are dynamic. That way you can control the performance.
And the other thing that I keep thinking about is I'm not sure if there's oxygen in this area, so I'm not sure how particles would be moving through the air.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's
That's
the
really
thing that
weird to
like
think about.
stopped me. It stopped me like every time. Like I kept thinking like, oh, that would be really cool, but I'm like, does that make sense? And
Right.
just
Yeah, it is good to ask yourself that as well. Um, this is where you have that issue where it is either a good idea or a bad idea to is it a good idea or a bad idea to actually break reality for a little bit and just go with what looks cool? Because a lot of times in movies and stuff, you'll see things that don't really make sense, but it looks cool, so you're like, whatever. So
I think I did a lot
finding a
more of that
balance is
in the
going to be
cave
good on
scene.
that. What's up?
Did a lot more of that in the cave scene.
Yeah, yeah. The cave scene is pretty cool. It's just really trying to find a way to balance what you're looking at and giving your eyes an area to rest, and then a little bit more storytelling. Because I feel like there's like a tool here or something, and then
Yeah.
there's lights, and I feel like there's a story that's trying to be told there, and I'm not getting enough of it.
I think footprints would definitely be help. That's a very low-hanging fruit thing to do.
Yeah. It's quite easy to just sneak in there because
Sneak
you
in a
could put like
decal.
a plane in there, right? Or even terrain layer, and then just displace with like a height map, the snow,
Right.
and then you get that feeling. Um, we're past 30 minutes, but I wanted to say one more thing. I think the thing for you to focus on, of course, make another scene. Watch out for these sharp edges, and really think about how stuff connects together because it's quite successful in this shot. And there's just some like easy things to fix, like the sharp edges and how everything kind of blends together. The roughness on this stuff feels a little strange. I'm not sure what that material is. It might just be the detail normals kind of doing weird stuff with the.
It's probably the clear coat.
Yeah. Oh, it's a clear coat. Okay. Yeah. So if it's clear coat, it's going to be really smooth. So there's a lot of information that's being shown where I guess you would expect it to be quite smooth. And then I think other than the edge stuff is really pushing your materials because you're doing pretty well on propping. It's more about your materials, your composition, and scale. Like scale again on this one, I'm not sure how big these lanterns are. Adding the footprints will fix the scale, right? Because then you'll understand how big a person is.
Right.
And then just unifying your thumbnails, and I think you'll have a stronger portfolio. And then another environment will be cool.
Yeah,
whatever you're working on next after the ice cave?
yeah. I'm thinking stylized next.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So okay, so if you're gonna work on a stylized scene, um, you have to ask yourself what do you want? Where do you want to work? Like what type of studio are you interested in? Do you know?
I know which studios I'm interested in. It's either I'd like to work for Bungie. I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to work for id Software. Um, I feel like working for what was the other company? Oh no, don't let them see this.
it would love this one.
Yeah, they like to.
But knowing the people that you want to work for, that should dictate a little bit of your work, right? Even if you go and build a stylized scene, just know that those studios maybe will be drawn to it, maybe they won't be. Just think
Yeah,
about like that stuff. Once you're in games, then you can just kind of go nuts and do whatever you want on your portfolio.
I might just go back to hard surface. That might be
Yeah.
a good bet.
But no, it's right now the it feels like you need another environment, and then just focusing on your materials scale and just the common stuff like the hard edges I was talking about, and I think
Right,
you'd be good.
right. Well,
But cool,
thanks for the critique. It was a
yeah,
lot of
dude.
fun.
Yeah, I like this format. I just wish it wasn't so bumpy in the starts.
All
But
right.
cool. Maybe I'll do a test after in another stream or
Okay.
before the stream. But all
Thanks so
right, dude.
much.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, goodbye.
Later. Nice. Nice. Dude, that was super cool.